Today, I'm going to be showing you where you can find every single piece of data inside of the grounded backyard. We're going to be doing these in order from the data tab in the game, from left to right, top to bottom, and they're all numbered as well to make this as easy as possible for you to collect all of these pieces of data and 100% the game. You will need every single thing in this video if you want to 100% the game. Every single one is as important as the other. Some of them won't even show up in your menu, so you need to make sure you have the exact same menu that I do here, otherwise you're missing pieces of data. Without further ado, let's get straight into the locations. To start off with, the first thing you're going to need to do is peep all of the creatures in the backyard. This is the first tab inside of data. As you can see here, this is all of the creatures you will need to peep. You do not need to peep the baby pet ants. Everything else on this list you do need to peep. You also don't need to peep anything from New Game Plus like the infected ants either. Our first section is the time at Ominent section, and for the first piece of data you need to come to this field station right here by the trash heap, and on the left side on the drawers you will find a tape. This is our first piece of data. For the second piece of data in the time at Ominent category, you need to come inside of the trash can right here. On the right side you will find a mint box, and behind the mints inside of the box, you'll find that there is a tape hidden behind them. Just use a hammer to break through the mint so that you can get the tape behind it. For our third piece of data in the time at Ominent category, we are once again inside of the trash can. All the way at the back where the Mega Milk Molar is, there is a tape on top of this battery. Make sure you go ahead and pick this up. For the fourth piece of data in this category, you will need a tier 2 shovel. You need to come to the footprint inside of the sandbox and look for the glowing effect during the day. This means you can dig here, and when you do, you'll get a skeleton. On this skeleton, it will have a tape called Endless Possibilities, which is data object number 4. For the fifth piece of data in this category, we're back in the trash can once again, and you're going to need to come to this specific pink can right here and jump inside. As you can see on a mound of dirt, there is your tape. And for the sixth and final piece of data in the time at Ominent category, you need to come near the trash can once again. Inside of this big dish, you will find yourself a tape. The sixth and final one, and this category is complete. Next, we move into the SPAC.R Development. Starting off at the trash heap, once again, there's a lot of data here. You need to follow the path that I take to this polystyrene cup on the right side. Inside of this cup, you will find yourself the fired tape. For the next piece of data in this category, you need to come to this field station right here on the east side of the map. Go inside, and underneath this table, you'll find the next tape. For the third piece of data inside of this category, go into the Oak Lab. Then, next to the Resource Analyzer, you'll find the tape you're looking for. For the fourth piece of data in this category, you need to be in the Oak Lab once again. Go through the initial door and take a right, and on top of this stack of drawers, you'll find yourself the folder. For the fifth piece of data in this category, we're in the Oak Lab once again. You need to come to where the Super Duper is, and to the left on this stack of drawers is the tape. Our next piece of data in the category is back at the Mysterious Machine where you start the game. On top, in the middle, is the tape. Next, we're on top of the picnic table. Inside of the field station that is up here, you'll find the Embiggening Logistics folder. For data piece number 8, come to this field station right here. This is the first field station you'll find as you leave the kid case. On the ground is the SPAC.R Safety Test folder. For data piece number 9 in this category, it's back to the Oak Lab once again, this time going into the big battery room. Take a left, and on top of this console here, you'll find the tape you're looking for. And the final piece of data in this category, you need to come underneath the hedge into this big broken piece of lab right here. On this flipped table, you'll find the tape you need. Our next category is hedge data, meaning, you guessed it, they're all in the hedge. For the first one, come to the field station that's in the hedge once you've climbed up, and inside of here, you'll find yourself the Kaiju Children tape. For our second data location, we're a bit deeper in the hedge now, right here on the map, in a slightly broken off piece of lab where there's a scabby and some spiderlings, you'll also find a tape. Location number 3. For this one, take the zip line in the hedge that ends up taking you into a piece of lab. Then, on the table in the lab, you'll find the tape. For the 4th piece of data in this category, we need to go back a bit in the hedge. You're going to climb up this route right here and into the place where you would activate the surveyor scanner. And on the table here is the reboot folder. Inside of the hedge now, where you would go to get the actual super chip itself, just next to the console right here is the tape. For the 6th piece of data, we're back at the Surveyor Scanner Lab. I don't know why they're in this order, but it's the order they're in the game, and I'm following that specific order. You need to go inside of this lab once again, but this time we're going all the way to the back where the Surveyor Scanner lever is, and just on the table here is the folder. We are in the Hedge Lab once again for this one, where we found the previous piece of data. This time, just go up deeper into the Hedge Lab, where you would find the Resource Analyzer, and the tape is right next to it. And for the final piece of data in the hedge, you're going to need to head inside of the lab and complete the whole thing. Then go through the final door and you will find yourself the tape on the table. Up next, we're moving into the pond category, meaning all of these data objects are inside of the pond. We're starting in the depths here. Just turn around and follow the path that I take, and you'll find this pipe in the ceiling right here. Swim up inside, and on the table, you'll find the pond research note. For the next piece of data in this location, you need to come into the lab itself. Then, right on the table on the left, as you enter, right next to the rotten slime lantern, is the tape. For the 3rd piece of data here, we are deeper into the lab itself. You're going to have unlocked the lab for this one. Go into the water. We're going to go as if we were completing the pond lab. You're going to need to do quite a bit of swimming, so just follow the path that I take. Eventually, you're going to come out the other side here, and you're going to find a table with the data piece on that you're looking for. For the 4th piece of data in this category, you need to come into the room where you would pull the lever after activating the 3 breakers. On the left on the table, you'll find the folder. For data piece number 5 in this category, come to the pond dome room, the final room in the pond lab, and follow the path that I take all the way up to where you find the chip. On the right side of the table, there's a tape. For data item number 6, we're once again in the pond dome room. However, this time we're going underneath the ramp, and on the table right here is a folder. Data item number 7. For this one, we're in the breaker room again, where you would pull the lever. Take a right into the room with the bed, and on the bed, you'll find a folder. For our 8th data object, you need to go back to the room we were in earlier, where you would go through the water tunnel once again, swimming all the way through, back to where we found that other tape. But this time, you're going to take a right when you get out of the water, and on the table here, you will find the folder. For the 9th data item, come to the area in which you would enter the pond lab itself. Then go out here, and straight ahead on this table, you will find the folder. And for the 10th and final piece of data, inside of the pond lab, you need to come into the dome room once again. Go up the ramp, but once at the top, take a right instead, and you'll find the folder on the ground. The next category is Haze, meaning all these items are in the Haze. For the first one, come to the field station in the Haze, and you'll find a folder on the table. For our next piece of data inside of the Haze, you need to actually come to the Haze lab. Head inside, and on the left, on this set of drawers, you will find the tape. For the 3rd location, we are once again inside of the Haze lab. Just follow the path that I take as we go inside. We're going to go all the way inside this time, heading down the ramp. Then take a left again and go into the corridor, and you'll find the tape is right there. For our 4th location inside of the Haze, you need to come to the boss fight room, and right before you go in, there is a piece of data on the right. And then for the final piece of data in the Haze lab, you will need to beat the infected ladybug boss fight, quote unquote. And in the final room where the chip is, you'll also find a tape on this set of drawers. The next set of locations are the Black Anthill, and for the first one, you need to come into the room where you would enter the Black Ant lab. Then head inside and down to the right, down the ramp. Keep going straight down this hallway, you'll find a bunch of TASTs, go past them, and then up the ramp as if you're going to the end of the lab where the chest is. On this table, there is a tape. For the next piece of data in this location, we are once again going in through the main entrance to the Black Anthill lab. This time though, we're taking a left into the room with the PC, and on this set of drawers you'll find is a tape. Location number 3, and we're taking the same starting point, entering once again through the entrance to the lab itself. Take a right and head down the ramp all the way down. Then straight ahead on your right is a folder on a table. For the 4th data location, you actually do need to beat the assistant manager boss before you can collect this one. We're going to go up the ramp as we exit the boss fight arena and through this room here with the tables and the mixer parts, into the other room with more mixer parts, and on the table is the mixer relocation program. Data location number 5, we are starting off at the entrance to the lab once again, this time going through the A door yet again, dropping down into the storage room in the lab. We are this time taking a left and heading through the door all the way down the ramp. There will be some tasties in this room that you'll have to take out, but on the table behind you there is a folder. For our 6th piece of data, you need to come to the bottom of the anthill here, where all of the ants are near the black ant queen, and head into this door right here. And if you go through this area all the way, you'll find a chest, and next to it is a table with the data item. For our 7th piece of data, you will once again need to have beaten the assistant manager and head through the door to where the super chip is. On the right on the table, there is a tape that you need. For the 8th and final piece of data in this location, once again we are in the room where the Black Anthill lab starts. This time we're going through an A door that leads to a drop down area. We're dropping all the way through, and on the beds here is a tape called Imminent Collapse. Our next location is inside of the Undershed. So the first item, we're heading in through the main entrance into the initial Undershed room. On this table right here is the first tape. For the 2nd piece of data in the Undershed, we're coming to the south side as we first enter and going up this piece of wood to the field station. Inside of here is a tape. For data location number 3, we actually need to go into the Undershed lab. In the initial room here, you'll find a chair, and on the left on a desk, you'll find the tape. And then for the remaining pieces of data inside of the Undershed lab, we're going to do them all in this one clip. You go into this room where the big table is, you'll find a folder on the right and then another folder further back. Then on the back left, there's another folder. On the table on the left, there's another folder. And in the final room here, there is a tape. That's every piece of data in the Undershed. The next category we have is miscellaneous. And for the first one, you need to come to this area right here on the map. This field station contains the local fauna report folder. For the 2nd piece of data, you need to come to the field station behind the trash heap. And inside of here, you'll find the folder on the ground is the 2nd data item in this category. Moving into the Brawny Boy bin now, and inside of here, you'll find the 3rd miscellaneous data item. In order to get this one, climb up the Haze T's arm here, and inside of the field station in the Brawny Boy bin, on the little set of drawers on the floor, you'll find the folder you're looking for. Data location number 4 now, this time we're in the top right of the yard by the stump. This field station was moved since the last video, so head inside and grab the CCTV report folder. For the 5th data location, we're going inside of the Haze lab, and on the left on the table, there is a letter called Goodbye Wendell. Miscellaneous item number 6 now, inside of the sandbox at the field station. If you head inside, there is a folder on the drawers. For our 7th one, you need to come to the first mixer in the game right over here by the massive pile of stink bugs. And on this mixer, there is actually the mixing rigs data item. For the 8th piece of data, you need to come to the sandbox and head inside of this lab right here after defeating the assistant manager. On the table on the right side, you'll find the tape you're looking for. For the 9th miscellaneous item, we're in the top left of the map by the wood pile. Head inside of the field station, and on top of the set of drawers, you'll find the tape. For the 10th item, you'll actually get this by doing the story, but I'll show it anyways. This one is gotten from breaking open the giant scabby and inserting the replacement fuse and pressing the button will actually give you the tape for number 10. The 11th data item in this category is in the Undershed lab. It is the grilled science that you pick up after defeating the Mant boss and rescuing Wendell Tully. And for the 12th and final data item in the miscellaneous category, you need to come to this area of the map right here. You will have needed to beat the Javamatic, Mantis, Wasp Queen, and Broodmother to be able to open up the door to the remixer room, because the final piece of data is actually inside of here. Then head inside down the ramp, and on the left on the set of drawers is the piece of data. For the 10th category in this video, we have the notes. Now, these don't actually show up in the data tab as missing, so you need to collect all of these and make sure you have them. The first one is inside of this area right here in the hedge. Right next to the ant totem recipe, there is a recon journal on the ground. For the second recon journal, you need to come inside of the pond depths right here and go into this bit of broken lab. Now, this is usually where you would find the breaker to open up the lab, but if you keep going straight, there is a skeleton here. On this skeleton, there is another recon journal as well as a suspicious snapshot. For the third location, we're in the Haze lab. Now for this one, you need to go through the door here and take a right. Where this raw science is, you'll find a skeleton, loot it for the snapshot and journal. For our fourth location, we actually dug up this skeleton earlier in the video, but in case you still need it, you need to come here to this giant footprint and use a tier 2 shovel to dig up this skeleton out of the ground. Once you loot it, you will get another recon journal. For the fifth location, we're in the upper yard, where this blue cap is right here that you would find a bunch of milk molars in. You need a tier 3 axe to cut through these roots, and then on the left, you'll find the skeleton with the recon journal on it. For the sixth location, we're heading to the hedge right here, and you can see that there is a giant spark plug, underneath is a skeleton, and inside of his body is 2 more snapshots and a journal. For location number 7, we're back in the upper yard, and we're going into the ravine right here. Inside of this secret cave in the ravine, you will need a bomb to break this cracked rock. Then head all the way up the ramp here and drop down through the hole once you get to the top. Once you've dropped through the hole, straight ahead there is a lean-to with a journal next to it. For our 8th location, we're in the Brawny Boy bin. And for this one, you need to go into the wasp's nest itself and head straight ahead to the skeleton that is next to the boss summon. On this skeleton will be another recon journal that you need to collect. And for the 9th and final location, you need to come to the barbecue spill here in the upper yard. Head over to the charcoal where the rocks are, and you'll find there is a skeleton buried and crushed, and he has some more recon journals and snapshots for you. Next up, we have the Ominent Data disc, which you can get by defeating Director Schmector underneath Moldork Castle. This is a pretty difficult one to get. However, you will need to beat Schmector to get 100% regardless, so this piece of data is just a cherry on top. Our next category is the BTUs. For the first one, you will need to head into the Oak Lab here and then go out through the breach. On the right, you'll find the first BTU. For our second location, we're back in the hedge, and you're going to need to come to where the Surveyor Scanner lever is and head inside of the lab right here. Then take a sharp left, and on the table, you'll find the BTU. For our third location, we're in the lower yard by the giant branch. Inside of this field station is BTU number 3. For our fourth location, we are in the hedge, in the upper portion where the hedge lab is. Inside of this piece of pipe here, you'll find the web samples BTU. And then for the fifth and final BTU, come to the bottom of the Black Ant Hill near where the Black Ant Queen is, head through this door right here, and on the right on the table, you'll find the fifth and final BTU. For the next section, we're looking at the Burgle chips inside of the game. I haven't included the super chips here because I think that they are unimportant, as you need to collect them anyways to beat the game. So if you're going for 100%, you would have had to collect these chips regardless. For the first one, we're going into the Red Ant Hill here for the Red Ant Hill chip. Probably one of the best chips in the game because the fiber bandage efficiency is an amazing purchase from it. Just follow the pathway I take inside of here and you'll reach the bottom of the anthill where you can find the Red Anthill Burgle chip. For our second location, you do need to get the Sunken Outpost Burgle chip. Now for this, you'll need the key, which I'll show you how to get later in the video. But once you have it, unlock the chest that's right here and you'll collect the Sunken Outpost Burgle chip. For the third one, we have the Sandbox Outpost chip. For this one, you will need to have beaten the assistant manager, and this will allow you to unlock this door to this lab and collect the chip off the table. For the fourth location, we have the Picnic Burgle chip. Once again, you need a key for this, which I'll show you how to get later in the video if you need it. If not, come to the top where the chest is, open it up, and you will collect the chip from inside the chest. The fifth Burgle chip is found inside of the wood pile right here. You need to come to the Termite King's lair. Once you are inside, you will need a tier 3 axe to access this area. And once you see the Termite King, take a right and you will find the chip is on the ground right here. For Burgle chip number 6, you need to go into the Stump Lab. This one is a pain, a lot of parkour involved, and it can be very difficult. You will need to have beaten the assistant manager to be able to unlock this area of the map. You'll also need to do a lab in the underwater area in the pond to unlock the stump lab. Then drop all the way down and you will get the stump burgle chip. And then for the final chip, we have the forgotten burgle chip, which is inside of the brawny boy bin. For this one, you need to come up top here and drop down into this big plastic ball. Inside, you will find the forgotten burgle chip. Another item you'll need if you want 100% the game is the zipper. For that one, come to the Oak Lab and open this door with the Assistant Manager keycard. Then collect the zipper off of the table right here. Up next is the recipe notes, yet another section that doesn't tell you if you're missing any of them, so pay close attention. For our first one, come to this leaf on the surface of the pond and swim down underneath into the gap in the rocks. You'll find there is a bunch of ant head totems. Just keep swimming through this area, and as you get deeper, you'll see more and more totems. Once you get to the end, you will actually find that there is an abomination totem with a recipe on top. Make sure you collect this recipe. For the next recipe, you need the ant totem recipe. So you need to come to this portion of the map right here underneath the hedge and head into the gap in the wall right here. You'll find a bunch of ant totems, and on the left in the lean-to, you'll actually find the recipe for the ant totem as well. Our next recipe is the frostbitten recipe. For this one, come into the Undershed here in the very first room. This one has been moved, and next to the resource analyzer is this recipe for the fridge. Our next location is inside of the room where Wendell Tully is found. On the right on this little cart here, you'll find the glorious recipe. Next location, we have a waterlogged recipe. Now there are two of these in the game, and for the first one, you need to unlock this chest inside of the tire, and inside you will find 2 molars and the waterlogged recipe. For the second waterlogged recipe, go to the castle inside of the sandbox, and in the moat around it, you will find a chest. Unlocking this chest, you will find the Salt Morningstar recipe inside, which is also called the waterlogged recipe. For the next section, we have the keys. Now it's worth noting that the first section here are the password scribbles for the Hedge lab. You'll collect these automatically by doing the Hedge lab. Also, the Assistant Manager key is in here, which I'm not going to include because you get that by beating the Assistant Manager, which leaves 4 keys to go through. For the first key, we're going for the Melted Moat key. Come to this area of the sandbox right here where you find this little bump in the sand. Go over and dig, and you'll find there is a key in the ground. This is the Melted Moat key. It's the first key you're going to need. Next up, we have the Minotaur Maze key. For this one, you need to come to this exposed pipe here, just south of the picnic table. Head inside and swim through the pipe, and eventually you'll get to some dead roots. You will need a tier 2 dagger or higher to cut through these, and behind them is the Minotaur Maze key. For the third key, it's the Mossy key. So you need to come to the pond depths, right where you would find the entrance to the pond lab. Then swim underneath this rock right here, you'll find a little cave. Keep swimming through this cave, and once you get to the end, past all the diving bell spiders, you will find that the Mossy key is here, leaned up against a root in the ground. And the final key we have is the Sticky key. Now for this one, we're going to have to take quite a long path. I recommend you start where I am here, which is this thistle plant right next to the lawnmower. I would climb up this plant and then jump onto the lawnmower from there. Then climb up this leaf so that you can go on top of the lawnmower, and you can climb up the handle on the right side of the lawnmower, going all the way up to the top. This is useful because you can jump off of here onto the metal ladder down below, and you don't have to build at all to get up here, and it's a very simple set of parkour. Then run all the way along the ladder until you get to the poison ivy plant. Once there, try to follow the path that I take without doing too much parkour or making life too difficult for us. This might take you a couple of attempts as it is a little tricky to get the hang of, but if you follow the path that I take, you should be just fine. You do need to do this one tricky jump once you get near the top, but if you can manage to do that, you take out your tier 2 shovel, break through this chewed gum, and behind it you'll find the Sticky key. For our next section, we have the boss notes. For the first one, you need to come to the hedge right here, just outside of the hedge lab, and then follow the path that I take along this branch. If you follow where I'm going, you'll see there's a piece of lab right here. Just climb up on top and head inside of this lab, and inside you'll find the Broodmother research notes. For the second location in this section, we need to head into the Stump lab. To get here, you will have needed to have beaten the Assistant Manager and unlock the Stump lab from within the pond. Once inside, drop down and go straight ahead across, jumping up off of this pillar here, and on this set of drawers you'll find the Mantis research note. For the third item in this section, you need to come to the Brawny Boy bin, then jump off of this floppy disk into the wasp's nest. Once inside, you'll find a skeleton on the ground. Looting it will give you the recipe for the Wasp Queen summon. The fourth object in this area is in the Moldorc Castle, all the way at the bottom, and inside of the lab. On the table, you'll find the Moldy Note. The fifth one in this section is the Poison Mushroom Sandwich. For this, you will need to go into the Haze lab and head to the area where you pull the lever in the Haze lab. On this set of drawers is the Poison Mushroom Sandwich. For the Infected Mushroom Sandwich, which you also need for 100%, you need to be in the Haze lab as well and come to the water section where the exposed pipe is. Inside of the pipe, you'll find that there is a recipe on the ground here. For our seventh location, we are in the Black Anthill lab. You need to follow the path that I take, starting from where you enter the lab initially, all the way down here to where all these Taze Teas are, continue past them, up here into this room, and on the table on your right you'll find the Poison Gum Sandwich recipe. Up next we have the Infected Gum Sandwich recipe. Now you do not need to collect this if you aren't in New Game Plus. It only actually appears once you enter New Game Plus 1 or higher, and you can find it here on the map. We are in the Assistant Manager Arena. Once you've beaten the Assistant Manager, head out of the arena and up the ramp, and then you will find the recipe on the table right here. And for the final recipe that you need to 100%, you're going to need to go into the Fire Anthill through this entrance here, which is the Jungle Anthill entrance. As you're going in, you'll notice some dead roots on the right side. Go ahead and chop through those with a tier 3 axe. Then continue through and you'll find a pillar with the recipe leaned up against it. Next, we have the Infected Toe Jam Sandwich recipe. Again, you don't need to collect this recipe to 100% unless you are in New Game Plus 2 or higher, which is when this recipe will actually appear. To get this one, head into the lawnmower entrance to the Fire Anthill, and as you head down on the ground here, you will find the recipe. The next section is the Duper Discs. For the first one, you need to come to where you found the Hedge Super Chip, and right next to it, there is the Super Duper Disc number 1. For our second Duper Disc, you need to come to the Pond Lab, right where you found the Super Chip. Once again, next to it, there should be the Duper Disc. And finally, we need to go to the Haze. At the end of the Haze lab, where you find the Super Chip, you will also find the Duper Disc. Then, for our final section in the video, we're going for the statues. The first one we have here is the Aphid figurine. In order to find this, you go into the Hedge lab and go to the section that I was in here, and you'll find it easy peasy. For the second statue, you need to actually go into the Haze lab. Then, follow the path that I take as if you were going to press the button to unlock the Haze lab. In the room with all the fungal, you'll find the Weevil figurine right here. Third up is the Koi statue, which is in the Pond lab. For this one, go through the lab as if you are going to activate the PC to unlock the Pond Dome room. As you're swimming through here, if you turn around at the right time up against this bit of lab here, you'll find that there is the Koi statue. Next, we're going to the Java-matic storage facility. For this one, you need to talk to Tully and tell him let's get started after putting the Java-matic ingredients in to unlock this area. Then head down, take a left, and you'll find him on the shelf here. For our fifth location, you need to head into the Undershed where you find Wendell Tully. Then to the left on the way out, you'll find the Wendell figurine on a shelf right here. For the sixth figurine location, you will need to come to the Black Anthill lab. You will need to have beaten all 8 mixers in order to get into this room, which will allow you to collect the Yoked Girth figurine. For the 7th figurine, you need to come in the Moldorc Castle here and head inside of the lab. On the right here, behind one of these computers, you will find the Moldorc figurine. And then finally, the last thing that you need to 100% the game is the hastily written note, which can be found in this area of the map right here, and you will need this. This is the final item in the guide. That is every single item that is required to be able to 100% grounded. Every piece of data item has been included in this video. If you need any more help, feel free to ask in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next grounded video. Have a great rest of your day.